Today, I want to talk about how the 7.3 liter Godzilla V8 has performed as a work engine. Now, this is going to be interesting because I've had the 6.7 right before this, which was my daily driver, traded that in, sold it, whatever, got the 7.3. And we also run a 6.2 liter gas engine in our F250 as well. Oftentimes, this truck is under the max payload, or even in some cases a little bit past the max payload. Of course, only on off-road situations, never on public roads. We have had 1,000 pounds hanging on the front and like 4,000 or 5,000 pounds in the bed. We've really been pushing the truck, and we're towing this big trailer, and this trailer can max out at 11,000 pounds, which is actually 16,000 pounds gross. So it can have an 11,000 pound payload. And we're going to be maxing out this trailer here in the future videos just to see how the 7.3 does. But this is going to be an interesting topic because this engine is quite a bit different than anything else I've ever worked before, even the diesel. So the number one thing that I noticed with this motor is it tends to run cooler than any other engine that I've ran. Now, the 6.2 gets up to operating temperature. It does not overheat, but it stays right there at operating temperature pretty much consistently. But in the summertime with the 6.2, I do hear a lot of the fan clutch turning on and a lot of the fan running. With this engine, the 7.3, I rarely hear the fan clutch kick on. This is basically like a electric fan clutch. It's still connected to the water pump to where it's not an electric fan, but it has a plug there. When you look into there, you can see, maybe I can't see it from here, but there is a plug on this fan clutch. So it's not a thermal coupling, but basically it locks up and it speeds up this fan here. That rarely ever happens with this truck, even with the AC running, things like that. The fan clutch just does not run very often. Whereas in the 6.2, you really feel a difference with the 6.2 in the winter because finally the fan clutch is not running. And when this fan gets running, it's soaking up a ton of power. It's like 15 to 20 horsepower, maybe even more, that it uses up. So it feels like you're pulling a boat anchor when your fan clutch turns on. And with the diesel engine, with the 6.7 Power Stroke, I noticed when it was hot outside, the fan clutch was always running from a stop. And I noticed that when my 6.7 got into an accident, it was gone for a while, didn't drive it, finally got it back, and when it's hot out and you're running the AC, the fan clutch is just constant. And it feels like the truck won't take off right. It feels like you're pulling a boat anchor. Whereas this truck, you didn't get that. That first gear felt a lot better with no fan clutch. So that's the number one thing that I noticed with this engine, which is better than the Power Stroke, better than the 6.2, is for whatever reason, it manages heat way better. I don't know why. I guess it's because it's such a big motor. It's not working so hard. I don't know what it is. Maybe because they moved the fuel injection closer to the cylinder. They actually put the fuel injector on the cylinder head, and usually fuel injectors are on intakes. I don't know why, but this motor runs freaking cool. Now, with it running so cool, and being that we plow snow, when we're plowing snow with this truck, it runs really cool. And if it's cold outside, it will not be getting to operating temperature very easily. So that's something really to think about, is this thing runs real cold when it's not, when it's winter, when you're getting down to like 12 degrees, the truck, it makes heat inside of the cab and stuff, but the coolant temperature will not reach operating temperature. So I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. It still makes good enough heat, but you can tell that the heat is not quite the same as it would be if it were able to run hotter. Now the 6.2, I do not recall the 6.2 ever not being right in the middle as far as operating temperature, but it is the thing with the 7.3. It's almost like when it's real cold outside, this truck needs a guard on the grill to maybe get more heat or keep more heat in it, because the snowplow can be literally blocking the full radiator and this truck will not get hot. So it's not so bad that it's actually an issue or anything like that, but it is something to think about. The motor doesn't really get up to a hot operating temperature too well. Now, the power at max payload on this is pretty good. Now, the thing about max payload on the truck, and a little bit beyond max payload, of course, only on private roads, never on public roads, but I could put as much weight in this 7.3 Godzilla. I can put as much weight as I want, and it's not gonna phase it. That's just in the truck. I can put whatever in the front of it, 1,000-pound plow, 1,100-pound plow, whatever. I can put whatever in the bed of it. It's not like the 6.2 where you can feel that weight. Like, man, this truck's heavy. Keep in mind, this is a 7.3. It is geared to 430 gears. All my trucks have been geared to 430 gears. It handles the max payloads and beyond very well, no factor. Puts down good power. I mean, this truck can be squatted down and everything, loaded down with thousands and thousands of pounds in a bed, and it's just no factor. Now, when you start pulling a trailer, keep in mind, when you're thinking about the weight, just this trailer alone is like 5K or 4,000, 5,000, something like that pounds. So that weight you can start to feel a little. It still whips it around pretty good. What I really have a issue with is the suspension. Hold on one second, got a phone call. But yeah, sorry about that, a phone call. But all in all, this engine has been really good as far as working, and it definitely seems to be a good engine. Now, there is one thing, the whole roller, what do they call it? Roller gate? Lifter gate? Lifter roller gate. So this is going to be called Lifter Gate scandal. With the lifters on this motor, apparently there's some failures here. I've never had an issue. Obviously, the engine is very low miles. We're at 5,000 miles on this motor right now, but if you follow Ford Boston, definitely check out his channel. Then you know that you probably know. And look, if you follow Super Duty, you probably know that there's some roller lifter issues that have been present with these trucks. It's not the end of the world. Everyone's like freaking out because it's the end of the world, and really it's just an issue that's been around for a number of years with GM. This truck pretty much uses the same lifters as GM. This issue happens with Chrysler as well. Basically, guys, to me, it seems like it's a supplier issue. It's a design issue. It's probably something to do with the oil pumps and all the restrictions and government regulations on something's not working right together. It could be these dual mode or dual pressure, whatever, oil pumps that are on these trucks. We don't know, but for some reason, there's some failures with lifters. And basically, if your lifter goes out and takes out a roller and it takes out the camshaft, it could mean a new engine. And Ford's been pretty good about warranting it, but the problem is, if you're out of warranty on one of these things for whatever reason, maybe you're a guy who put a ton of miles on it, it's something to think about, something to consider, and it's definitely worth keeping really good maintenance records and stuff like that. It's by no means the end of the world, though, and it doesn't mean that this engine's garbage or anything, but it does mean that there are going to be some failures. And maybe Ford comes along and has a fix for it. It's still a relatively reliable engine, but this lifter stuff is just kind of a nightmare. And it kind of makes a lot of people have come out to say, like, the 6.2, a lot of people are happy if they got the 6.2 right now. But the thing with the 6.2 is you really don't have the roller failures so much. I'm sure it's happened, but very rare. Very rarely with the 6.2 there's a broken spring, like a broken valve spring. It's not hard to fix. So kind of makes me wonder what design's really better. But anyway, guys, my name's Sean. This is DS Trucks. Check out all the videos of our trucks and stuff that we've done. This is something we've built, a custom blower rack that allows us to hold our snow blowers here on the rear of the truck. And this is something that I made. Comment below if you think this is kind of cool, would like one of these. It allows us to carry 2 of these power clear snow blowers. What I've been thinking about doing is making these and selling them. And basically, it's something that can go in any truck. All you need is a 2.5-inch receiver. I gotta really kind of work out some more kinks though, like how many different type of spreaders can this thing actually fit on. I know it fits the Salt Dog, but Salt Dog runs a smaller spinner. But yeah, definitely check out all the stuff that we've done to our trucks on the channel here with the 7.3. We've done these lights on our running boards. I really like these lights. So basically, with these lights, they're dual mode. So you press the or flip the upfitter switch, and that gives you just a steady burn here on all the lights. If you can see that. And this other switch gives you a pattern like this. And if you hit this box down here, this is basically a light box where you can add any light to those, but F is a pattern change. So we press F, it changes the pattern. So I keep pressing F and cycling through different patterns. So but anyway, guys, my name is Sean. This is DS Trucks. See you guys in the next one. That's it for today. Over and out.